What's up, everyone? Welcome to This, That, and the Other. That is the new name I've decided to give my podcast. And today I just wanted to give you guys a Friday update. Happy Friday to all of you out there who are listening. Hopefully we can start getting some views. Just started this thing a few days ago, and hoping to hopefully to at least get a few subscribers, some listeners, some input from all you guys out there. Today I wanted to talk about a couple basketball things. Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki playing, or they have already played, have basically retired and are not playing basketball anymore. I made that way longer than it needed to be, but I just wanted to talk about those guys and how they've, how they'll be remembered. For me, Dwayne Wade. Start with Dwayne Wade. He's a very underrated player. I think both these guys are. He's underrated for the reason that he won a championship very early on in his career, long before LeBron James even sniffed a championship, and he won it without LeBron. He won it with an aging Shaquille O'Neal and some other nice players against the Mavericks, ironically. And these two players have a lot to do with each other because they've been to the final. They were matched up against each other 2 times in the finals, and the first time, I'd say it was kind of a toss-up. I think Dallas had the home court advantage, but I think it was a toss-up perception who they thought was going to win. And the second time was a huge upset by the Mavericks. And I remember that not Final Four, but I remember that finals very vividly. I remember rooting with everything against LeBron because I thought it was kind of a traitor for leaving Cleveland. And kind of going with the glitzy option to go down to South Beach, but don't want to talk about too much about LeBron in this one, but like I said, he did win a championship on his own, and at a very young age, like I said, and he was very unselfish because I do know that there's some players who want to be the main guy for their teams, and once LeBron came to Miami, I think a lot of people thought that LeBron was, it was kind of his team, and so, I feel like he kind of made a little bit of a concession there. Dirk Nowitzki, on the other hand, very unselfish player as well. 6th all-time leading scorer, and interesting take on this is that his career high was only 53 points, which, if you think about someone who's 6th all-time, and his career high is only 53 points, to me that tells me that very unselfish player, on that night when he had 53 points, I'm assuming that he probably could have, scored a lot more, shot a lot more, and didn't. That's just an assumption. I don't know anything about the actual game itself, but a very unselfish game, and you can just tell he's a guy who just loves the game of basketball inside and out. He's not doing it for the money. He's taken pay cuts multiple times. Not that he doesn't get paid. He's a superstar. But and I don't think he's naive. I don't think he's getting undercut or anything. But I think he could have probably made more money in his career. And he played 21 seasons with the same franchise. If that's not just like pure love and dedication for your sport and your city and your team, then I don't know what is. He reminds you a lot of those guys like maybe you could say Karl Malone, who never got the championship but played with one team their whole career. He's kind of like that guy, that kind of player, except for he actually did get his championship, and I think it was the most well-deserved championship in all sports. That team consisted of lots of veterans like Sean Marion, Peja Stojakovic, Jason Kidd, another one. A lot of aging veterans, and it was just so cool to see. But so those two guys will be missed. Dwayne Wade, I remember watching getting drafted when I was probably 13 years old, and it was a part of that amazing draft class. LeBron, Chris Bosh, Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, all those guys. So, and Pistons ended up with Darko Milicic. But anyways, don't want to talk about Darko too much today. But it'll be, and when you feel yourself getting older is when you see players like Dirk you grew up watching, leaving and saying goodbye to basketball. And like I said, it's not like Dirk was a spring. It wasn't like he retired early. 21 years, it's a long time. So it's not so much that you're a diehard Mavericks fan or anything, but you're really gonna miss what they bring to the game. And I think you look at like Kristaps Porzingis, players like him might be kind of replicating what Dirk was. There's no way, I don't think anyone will have as good of a step back fadeaway as Dirk had. Similar, like in a similar way when Tim Duncan retired, you're not as big as fan, but you're just gonna miss. You're gonna miss watching them in the finals. Put up a good fight and come away with the championship. More often than not, once they get there and challenging these super teams. I could go on and on talking about Tim Duncan too, but I thought I needed to make a video about him because he's one of those two guys I respect. I greatly respect, and Dirk Nowitzki especially. Although Dwayne Wade did play most of his career with Miami, I think he did. He played for Chicago maybe for a year or two, and I thought he might have retired already. So, but I didn't follow his career as closely. Dirk's just a very unique player. And what he did for the globalization of the NBA, can't even be measured. He was really, I think he was one of the first foreign superstars. Let's be 100% honest about that. I mean, I think that's what it is. He paved the way for Yao Ming, Peja maybe. Porzingis, I think. Maybe I can't remember. I think he's foreign, but yeah, I think just paying a huge. I can't even put it into words, but a big debt is owed to Dirk for what he's done for the game of basketball. Now getting to our team, the Detroit Pistons, they'll play the Milwaukee Bucks, and they're, of course, Blake Griffin is going through a day-to-day injury situation. He's not really healthy. He's not going to be healthy. I'll say this. You got no chance of winning in Milwaukee, sorry. They're the best team in the East, and I've heard people say they might be the best team in the NBA. You got swept by them this year. Don't play Blake Griffin in Milwaukee. Your best chance, in my opinion, wait till you get it home, hopefully win those 2 games, and then go on the road and try to steal the game on the road in Game 5. Don't try to do it with the first 2 games, because I think you gotta play your cards right. I think it's a chess match, and the only chance to win is to have Blake as close to 100% as possible. So they need to sit him out the first 2 games. Like I said, hopefully win those next 2 games, and then go for the steal in Game 5. There's no way they're going to win this series anyways, but you got to the playoffs, might as well give it the college try. and I'll actually be going to Game 3 at Little Caesars Arena. I'm going to try to get some cheap tickets, and that'll be my first playoff game and my first experience at Little Caesars Arena, so I'm looking forward to that. It's possible I might have some video footage, something to do with that in the next video. Still getting the hang of using the Spreaker app and also YouTube. I really do like the fact that you can just upload it right onto YouTube without having to go into all these editing programs. So big shout out to Spreaker there for their usability of their podcast application. And I don't even have to get my laptop out, which is nice. So another thing, we got the spring football game for MSU coming up on Saturday. And the spring game for MSU is pretty useless to watch. All spring games are really, but no matter what happens on Saturday, you're gonna leave you're gonna be freaked out. And the reason is if the offense gets their head out of their from out of themselves, then we're going to be saying, oh, what's going on with the defense? Why aren't they stopping these guys? And, if the offense does nothing, it's going to be same old, same old. And, I do think Michigan State does like to use a little bit of smoke and mirrors to try to make it look like sometimes like they're, incompetent, but they really aren't. One thing I've learned with D'Antonio, every once in a while, there's a smoke and mirror game that he's playing. But probably 2 times out of 3, it is what it is. I think early in his career, we saw a couple of those things where he was pulling fast ones on us. Little Giants, fake field goals and stuff. And, 2013 when they were barely beating teams early in the season and they ended up having one of their best teams ever. I think that made us think anytime, Michigan State is struggling that, oh yeah, D'Antonio's just pulling a fast one. But, sometimes they really just aren't, sometimes they really just don't have what it takes. And, I prefer D'Antonio over Izzo just from a personality and a fan preference, more of a football fan than a basketball fan. But, he's still got a little ways to go to get on Izzo's level, I'd say. You got the Big Ten championships; those are nice, but you do have to figure out a way to beat some more elite teams. And Alabama is kind of your Duke right now, but I don't really have enough time on this podcast to talk more about that. But I'm not even going to make a prediction for the spring game because it's utterly pointless. It's offense versus defense. The scoring is kind of weird. I would like to see the offense, I would like to see the offense do something, put up some points though, even more so than I'd like to see a great defensive performance. But, either way, it's not going to tell us jack diddly about the season coming up. So, it's kind of like, why watch? There's a chance I might watch it just because I want to see, players in green and white. A little bit of curiosity there, but that's about it. Curious to see, some of the players who's on the roster, some of the new guys. I guess that's another intriguing thing. And you expect some of those freshmen, younger players to get some time. But I don't think there's any really indication of how the offense is going to look with this game. So I'm running out of time on this one. So we'll see. We'll see about getting some more videos up. I'm going to try to upload pretty regularly. But I guess that's it for this time. Thank you for listening to This, That, and the Other. And we'll talk to you later.